This video is brought to you by John Robson Guitar Tuition. If you enjoy the content, please consider supporting the channel by enrolling on a course, purchasing some guitar lessons or a t-shirt, or you can join my Patreon. Now, on with the show. Hello chaps, welcome once again to John Robson Guitar Tuition. As always, I do hope you're well. Today being Tuesday, we are running down a top 5 list, and as you've probably seen by the thumbnail and the title of the video already, today I'm going to be talking about my 5 favourite modifications you can do to a guitar. I love tinkering with guitars and just personalising them a little bit, but not for the sake of it. There's 1 or 2 guitars in here that I'm quite happy with them as they are stock, but you know, a lot of the time, especially when you are, let's say, not as financially solvent as you would like to be, you just buy the guitar that's as close to what you want as you can afford, and then, you know, kind of tweak it and modify it the rest of the way there. You know, I mean, some guitars now are actually, you know, almost, but not quite, sold for exactly that purpose, as modding platforms. So, you know, it is a thing. It's a thing that many people do, you know, modifying or modding their guitars. And it's something that I've done many, many times over the years. And I was just thinking about this the other day, and it was a fairly easy list to come up with, to think of my 5 favourite guitar mods. So here they are, starting with
dropping a hot rails into a Strat.
Yep, dropping a hot rails into a Strat. I've never ever got on with the bridge pickup on a Stratocaster. Some people make it sound absolutely fantastic. I've never been able to manage that. You know, it's pretty much an unusable setting all the way back on the bridge pickup on a Strat. I find it, no matter what I do, shrill and unusable. And if you know, you try and roll the tone off a little bit, if you've got a tone control connected to it, I don't know, it still sounds thin, but just with the kind of harshness taken off it. I always find it, you know, much more preferable to have a humbucker in that position. The problem with a full-size humbucker, and I've had plenty of HSS Strats over the years, I'll go with that. I can quite happily use that if I'm in a Strat frame of mind, which hasn't happened for quite some time, it has to be said. But I think I always prefer the sound of a hot rails in the bridge position of a Strat, because it doesn't affect that kind of position 2 tone too much. It still sounds more Stratty in that bridge and middle position setting, that Knopfler kind of setting, you know, if you have a hot rails in the bridge. And ironically, when you go to the bridge pickup in a hot rails equipped Strat, it sounds to me like a Strat should. It gives me that sound that other people seem to be able to manage to get out of a Stratocaster on the bridge position, but I never quite can. So yeah, definitely, if I'm ever going to have a Stratocaster style guitar again, then it's going to have a hot rails in the bridge, and you know, that's how I like it. So that's got to be one of my favourite mods. Next,
Locking tuners.
Yeah, now I've done a bit of a 180 on locking tuners. I was sceptical about them for many, many years, and that's because on a guitar that doesn't have locking tuners, there's a particular way that you can fasten the string to the tuning peg that effectively turns any tuner into a locking tuner. The string locks in on itself, and you know, I've always found that a perfectly you know, agreeable way of putting strings on a guitar. And I even a few years ago did a side-by-side comparison where I had 2 guitars, identical scale length, both 25.5-inch scale. Both were fixed bridge guitars. One had locking tuners, the other didn't, and I did a timed kind of string change between the 2 guitars. And the thing that's always said is that, oh, locking tuners make for faster string changes. Well, that wasn't the outcome of that particular test. There was a few seconds in it, basically, and I think, if memory serves me correctly, the locking tuners were about 10 seconds longer to change the strings than the non-locking tuners. And that was because, for some reason, in that particular test, they took longer to stretch in, because I'm counting not just taking the strings off and putting the new strings on. I'm talking about, putting the new strings on and getting them so they're stable and they're in tune and you can bend strings without them going out of tune and so on. The locking tuners took longer for that stretching in process. So, I'm not entirely sold on the idea that locking tuners make for faster string changes, because that's not my experience of using them. I'm also not sold on the idea that locking tuners improve tuning stability. There are plenty of people who will attest to the fact, the great and the good of the guitar kind of Lutherian tech, kind of glitterati and aristocracy on YouTube, who know far more about these such things than I. That the worm gear in a standard tuning peg is never going to slip. It's all to do with laws of physics and stuff that I have a very hazy grasp of. But anyway, plenty of people will attest to the fact that, if you're suffering tuning issues, it's more likely to be the nut or the brake angle or something like that that's at fault rather than your tuners. So I'm not entirely sold on the fact that locking tuners improve tuning stability either. So why have I done a bit of a 180 if I was sceptical about the main reasons people specify for locking tuners? Well, quite simply, they make string changes easier. They might not make them faster, but they do make them easier, more convenient. Just less of a faff around having to, kind of tie the string onto the post and then untie it to get the old ones off and stuff. It's just an easier labour-saving, if not time-saving, but certainly a labour-saving invention. And, for that reason alone, I think I've become something of a locking tuners convert, and I tend to have them on any guitar now that I play regularly. So there you go. Next.
Rolled fretboard edges. Yeah,
the topic of a video that I did a little while ago. The only thing that I like about relict guitars is that, they feel nice and played in. You don't have that kind of, especially on the fretboard, especially on the edges of the fretboard, where the back of the neck comes round to meet where the actual playing surface is. That's the only aspect of a relic guitar that I like, and it's the only thing that I tend to do on any of my guitars now, which is to round off the fretboard edges. If you didn't see the video that I did on that, I'll link to it in the description. But it does give any guitar a fantastically played-in feel. A big shout out here to a company who I've owned 3 of their guitars, bought with my own money, not sponsored or anything like that. Sire. Who make the Larry Carlton series of guitars. I've owned the 335 style one, which had rolled fretboard edges. I think that's the H7. I've owned the Strat style one, the S7, and I've owned the Les Paul style one, the L7, and really enjoyed those guitars, but I just never was really in love with the sound of any of them. So I suppose I could have modded them, but in the end, I thought, I'm turning guitars over here all the time, and I need to kind of the ones that aren't getting played. I'll get them out the door and free up some funds. excuse me, for new acquisitions that I can make videos with. But yeah, rolled fretboard edges. Those Sire guitars have them. That, I don't know if you can see that in the corner there. Let me go and get it. This Ert guitar has beautifully rolled fretboard edges, and honestly, if you've never tried one of these things, you really owe it to yourself to kind of at least get your hands on one. The fretwork on these and the fretboard edges are absolutely fantastic. This feels like a comfortable old pair of slippers, and that is the feel that rolled fretboard edges will give you. So that is all, and it's an easy mod to do as well. So, it's if you've never tried a guitar with these kind of fretboard edges, then give it a go. I promise you, you will be converted if you aren't already aware of it. So, rolled fretboard edges, that's on the list. What's next?
Treble Bleed.
Yeah, now the Treble Bleed, it mystifies me why this doesn't come as standard on all guitars anyway, because it costs pennies. We're talking about probably literally pennies, probably about 20 or 30 pence worth of a capacitor and a resistor that you solder across the lugs on your volume control, and the effect that has is that when you turn your volume control down on the guitar, the sound doesn't immediately go all woolly and muffled and frankly unusable. I have heard that there are some people who don't like what the treble bleed does to a guitar, and I just really can't get my head around that. It's like, why do you want your guitar to sound like somebody's thrown a duvet over the amp? It just means that the volume control on the guitar works, and that is something that I'm always talking about. I love being able to go from a clean sound to a dirty sound just via the controls on the guitar, and rather than having that sort of binary choice between, oh, there's your clean sound, now hit the foot switch, and oh, and there's your dirty sound, you can kind of morph between the two and blend it a little bit. And I just find that you can do it in the same lick, you can do it on the same note in the same lick, and vary the dynamics of what you're playing. And when you're rolling the guitar's volume control down, you're not losing all of the treble. You're not making the guitar sound like, as I say, like somebody's thrown a duvet over the amp. So to me, it mystifies me why that isn't done on all guitars as standard. It costs literally nothing to do, and it's a vast improvement on any electric guitar for my money. Next.
The Gilmore Mod.
Yes, we're back to Strat kind of territory again. Now, I don't own a Strat, but this is the closest I've got. This is the guitar I go to whenever I need anything Stratty sounding. It's a Fender Deluxe Nashville Telecaster, made in Mexico, but absolutely the equal of anything that you could buy with Made in the USA written on it. Fantastic guitar. Thank you, Joe, once again. And it does all the Strat sort of stuff, because you've got bridge, middle and neck pickups and the 5-way selector, and it just works. It's the best Strat I've ever owned, put it that way, because I can actually use the bridge pickup on this guitar, which I've never been able to get away with. As I said, the bridge pickup on a Strat. But the one sound that this guitar lacks is the bridge and neck pickups on together, which I think is an essential part of a Telecaster's tonal palette. So I've done the Gilmore mod, so called because David Gilmour has this mod done on his Strat. It's basically a little switch that when you put it into the down position, I'm now getting, if I'm on the bridge pickup, I now get the neck pickup on together, with it, and gives it that classic Telecaster sound. And it's such a simple mod to do as well. All you got to do is lift the control panel off, go underneath, find the lug on the selector switch that corresponds to the bridge pickup, find the one that corresponds to the neck pickup, and run a wire between them, so that when the neck pickup is on, the bridge pickup is on, and vice versa. And then all you do is, halfway along that wire, you put a little on-off switch. That's all it is. It took like 10 minutes to do that mod. Take a little bit longer on a Strat, obviously, because it's not as easy to access the wiring on a Strat. The strings have got to come off and all sort of thing. But it's still a very, very simple, easy mod to do. Kind of thing that you would list as a newbie kind of mod. If you've never done any kind of wiring mods on a guitar, this would be a good one to have a go at. And it's now made this my sort of go-to guitar for anything Stratty, but also anything where I want more of a kind of a higher gain sound out of a Telecaster, because these are the Fender noiseless pickups, and they handle higher gain stuff a bit better than just the regular kind of Telecaster pickups. That where is it? You can't see it, it's over there, but I've got another Tele style guitar there with just regular Tele style Tone Rider pickups in it. That's great for the old school Tele stuff. This is fantastic for all the Strat stuff and all of the kind of higher gain stuff that I might want a Telecaster whiff about it. So there you go, folks. Those are my 5 favourite mods to do to guitars. Let me know what yours are. Let me know if you've ever tried any of these for yourself and how you got on with them, and if there's any that I've missed on the in this list that you think should have been there or would be on your list, mods to do to guitars, then you know where to leave a comment down in the comments section, obviously. But that is very much the video for today, folks. Hope you've enjoyed what you've seen and found it entertaining and informative in some small way, and if that's the case, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell if you haven't already done so, and why not drop me a like as well while you're at it. Don't forget the live stream every Friday, 5 PM UK time. We drink beer and talk about music and guitars and all manner of things. Great way to kick off the weekend. I'd love to see you there if you can make it, but for now I'll bid you all a good day and say thank you so much for watching. Thank you for your time. Look after yourselves, folks. Stay well, stay safe, and above all, stay sane. Bye for now.